The mansion was always quiet, but today it felt suffocating. You placed the coffee on his study table without a word. He didn't look up as always. You had memorized every detail on one sugar, no cream, the caramel mug he preferred. You even placed the teaspoon to the right the way he liked it, but he didn't glance your way, his eyes fixed on some report. Your coffee, you whispered, but your voice was already lost to the silence between you two. You stood there for a moment, hoping, praying he would just say something, anything, a thank you maybe, but nothing came. With a soft note to yourself, you turned and left. Your footsteps in ocean faintly down the hallway. Later that night, when the world slept, you sat in your dimly light room, the guest room, the one you moved into 2 months after your wedding, when living difference become unbearable. You opened your worn-out diary, he later frayed from your consent touch. Day 162 of being invisible, your pain paused, your heart heavy. He still doesn't know my favorite flower. He doesn't know I skipped milk just to avoid sitting alone at the camp dining table. I wonder if he even know my birthday is next month. A teardrop landed on the ink, suddenly smothered the walled care. You quickly wiped your cheek. No one was supposed to see the side of you, not even yourself. You closed the diary and slid it back into the drawer within your old service. It was your cigarette wall, the only place where your pain had a voice. As you lay on your bed, the silence felt louder than ever. From across the hall in the master bedroom, dimly wide awake, he had heard your sob earlier. He turned toward the ceiling phone. He didn't come to check on you. He never did. You stood at the front door with your small travel bag in hand. I am going to Upper House for 2 days, you said softly, not expecting a remote response. He was on the couch, scrolling through his phone. He didn't even glare at you. Was all he gave. You stared at him for a second longer, or at least say take care, but you knew better than hope anyone. As your car drove away from the mansion, the silence inside just kept louder. That mighty press passed by your empty room, the one you moved into quietly without telling anyone. His hand paused on the doorknob, hesitating before walking away. He didn't sleep. Something about your voice today, it felt different. Flashback, a few weeks ago, you stood quietly in the kitchen while his family laughed in the living room. You had made dinner for everyone, but no one noticed you hadn't eaten. You smiled when they praised them for choosing such a perfect wine. You went upstairs after cleaning, sat on the bed and whispered to your dad, it's her that they didn't think I am happy, but how can I complain when no one ever asks how I feel? You had looked at your reflection, then eyes, tired, lips curved into a fake smile. Back to present, you opened the fridge and saw a glass bottle of a mango juice, your favorite. You used to offer him some. He always refused. Tonight, for the first time, he opened it and drank it. It tastes sweet, but it's hot. He didn't know why. But something was shifting, unspoken, heavy, and it had scent of regret.